Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be going over T-top roof parts, door glass, trim, and interior differences for your T-top roof, whether it's for a hatch or a coupe. And I'm going to show you some of my available inventory. So if you look here, I have a palletized load just about ready to go. I had a customer order the roof insert. I've taken the trim off here and put the trim in the box separately so there's no damage during shipping. And what you see carefully packed here at the bottom is a set of T-top door glass. So to get us started, let's take a look at an example here of a T-top car. This is a 1983 GT factory T-top car. And when we look at it, obviously there's going to be some parts that are either modified or missing. On the four-eyed cars, we'd start here with the drip rail. So to the best of my knowledge, the drip rail was just a hardtop piece cut, and there is a factory cap on there. And again, this here would just be the remainder of a hardtop piece that's been cut. And I see it looks like this little cap is missing. But on the four-eyed cars, it's a solid piece of trim all the way across the roof here. Same thing in the back, solid piece all the way across the roof here. And when we go look at some of the other donor sections, you'll see that there are some differences where there's a connecting plate, which is what this roof over here had actually. There's a little connecting plate, so the trim isn't 40 inches long, it's two 20 and a half inch pieces with a connecting piece in the middle. So another thing with the four-eyed trim that you'll see that is very particular to the four-eyed T-top cars is this drip rail is actually part of the molded piece of the T-top glass here on the end. I actually have some 87 to 93s. I don't know if I'll get to them during this video. It's going to be a long one, but you can tell an 87, 88 T-top, an actual T-top, by it having a flat piece of trim all the way across the top here. No drip rail molding. The 87 to 93 quarter windows, whether it's hatch or coupe, come all the way up to the top here. So there is no space, no need, no room for any kind of drip rail molding. So on a 87 to 93 Foxbody, the only piece you got to worry about would be this front drip rail with a little cap. Now when you go into the inside of the car, since the roof is cut right about here, the quarter plastic trim is also going to be cut short. There's no room for that front little piece. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've had your Mustangs apart or can look up a part image on the internet, would see there's a little ear here that normally bolts up to the roof, but well, that part of the roof is missing. So you're going to have to modify your original hatchback or coupe quarter plastics, cut it short here if you're going with a T-top. The headliner, of course, is going to be different. There's aftermarket options out there. I really haven't had good luck. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the vinyl's all fallen down. That's usually what I see on all T-top cars and the majority of sunroof cars too. That vinyl roof just really did not hold up well over time. And when I snuck in the car just a second ago, I wanted to point out another difference with your T-top cars. You're going to find a vinyl, in most cases, visor. You won't have a cloth visor. There's moisture, wetness, and things that are kind of in this general area. So Ford had the forethought to give you a somewhat waterproof visor. So if you are converting your car from a hardtop to a T-top, you might want to consider that. There's even some aftermarket options out there for vinyl visors, which I would suggest going with. Even from the factory here, look, we got a big 4-inch strip of some kind of rubberized tape here. Well, that's to keep the roof from bowing and wobbling there. And of course, it can leak water pretty much any point all around this whole dang car. I'm sure, in my experience with a lot of these parts cars, that's going to be the case because I don't have new weather stripping and haven't done any door adjusting or anything like that. So hopefully with the aftermarket parts that are available, if you're gonna do this and you buy new stuff, you'll have no problem keeping the water out. Now, it would look to the untrained eye that this is a regular hardtop. And actually, if we covered up the hatch area here, we wouldn't know if this is even a coupe or a hardtop hatch. So for years I've been dealing with these parts, these cars, and have noticed that in your 79 to 93 Foxbody, I think there's like 12 different pieces of glass. You've got your 79 to 93 hardtop, and even with those, there's some differences in tint, but they're all car-like glass. Then you've got your 83 to 86 convertible, some 87 to 93 convertible, and actually there's a little break in there. There's an 87 to 88 and a half only convertible. So you got 83 to 86 convertible, 87, 88 and a half convertible, 88 and a half to 93. So there's 3 different styles just for your convertible. And then when it comes to your T-top car like this, oh boy, does it get exciting. This piece of glass is specific to this car. The door is going to be the same as a convertible door. There's no frame along with it. So inside the door, there is some extra bracing, and I do have some loose T-top door glass pieces we're going to look at in a minute. There are some stoppers, some little bumpers that when the glass is up, it keeps it from kind of wobbling there and walking around inside the door shell itself. But you really got to pay attention, which I am kind of doing retroactively now. I'm going back to original T-top cars I have like this and really taking measurements and looking where the assembly pieces go to make sure that, for example, when I sell a roof section and the customer tells me whether he's got a 79 coupe or a 93 coupe and he's doing a T-top roof conversion, I need to make sure I supply the correct glass. So we're going to go take a look over here. I have a couple pieces of door glass out. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the differences. And these are out because I was getting my customer the very best of parts. He's been extremely patient with me, and I know he's doing a bang-up job with this conversion. So I made sure to comb through a couple different pieces of T-top glass. Let me get myself out of the way here. But there's going to be another video that's coming out soon, and there are some older videos if you want to check out glasses. But you'll see there's big differences in kind of the front end here. Get the glare just right. The front end here on the older cars, the newer cars, the hardtops, the convertibles, you'll see there's definitely a big difference here. And that all has to do with weather stripping and shape of the car. There are some that are higher and lower here where it's going to meet that kind of header part of the interior of the shell. And because of the side mirrors, which we can just start right here. You know, this is like your 88 style side mirror, so the glass can physically be longer than if you are on a 79 to 86 piece here. Well, there's a mirror in the way, so the glass actually has to be physically shorter. And you can kind of tell just by looking at the difference in those two, that there has to be a difference in glass. So here at Encore, I'm very diligent about making sure that I know what your application is, and therefore I can match it up properly. So excuse my messy journey here, but I've got a bunch of these pieces of T-top out. So when it comes to the T-tops themselves, what we learned earlier is that the 8788 does not have that drip rail as part of the end of the T-tops trim here. So just by looking, we can go, that's 8788 T-top. This is 79 to 86. I can feel that one's trim, 7986, 7986, 7986. So this is a pair here of the 8788s. That's why we don't see the other. It's tucked away, but there's a look at the differences in just the T-top glasses, the T-top glasses themselves. And there could be a difference in those between earlier versions, later versions, as far as a tinted finish, a mirrored finish. They all say Carlite on them, I can see that, but there might be some changes in between there that we need to pay attention to, when, especially if you're ordering something from, I don't want to say somebody who doesn't know what they have, but you really have to be quite educated if you didn't pull the parts out of a car directly. Got to be real certain what you have. So we've looked at door glass, we've looked at a roof glass, we've looked at a T-top car. Let's pause real quick and go over this customer's order one more time, and then I'll go show you some of the available inventory. The car I was just showing you, the 83 GT, it will be coming apart soon, but once the roof is off, all of those pieces, the entire conversion would be available. So I've got the two-piece style trim. I took them off the roof, separated them into halves, front and rear, paired them up, put them in the box. I individually packed and wrapped with cardboard and bubble wrap and packing peanuts the two pieces of glass. So I've got the two pieces of glass there, and what do you know it, the way I've done it here, it actually fits on a 40 by 40 gauge pallet. So if anyone's interested in, minus the T-tops here and some of the little trim and interior, I mean, we're basically looking at an entire T-top conversion. The door glass that's extremely specific, the trim for the roof, and the frame itself. So how about that? I'm gonna take us over. Oh, well, while we're here, we'll look at this piece. Kind of forgot this one's waiting a shipment as well. So this is a purchase off of eBay someone made. So if you're interested in full kits, I did have this exact piece right here on eBay. It's an 85 GT. So you've got all the pieces of trim, I basically cut the car so that you could mold in any structure you wanted to from this complete car. It's not the only way to do it. I can't even say if it's the right, as in correct way to do it. But since I have everything here, the customer will get everything that came off the car. And this is an easier way to see an example of those end caps. So this is an 85 car, so that has end caps on both ends. Remember what we learned earlier is that the 87 and newer don't have that trim because they have that big piece of quarter glass. So we'll go this way. Mother Nature is trying to make this a little more difficult for me than I was hoping. But what we're looking at just for the moment here are about 7 or 8 complete roofs, in which most of them have their trim. So I'm not going to get my body over there, but as you can see, this red one here, it's 87, 88. It's got the pieces of trim that separate right there in the middle, as you can see. I see a lot of A-pillar trims on these. Again, it's probably just a hardtop trim that's been cut. But if you're interested in a roof section, if you're interested in just the T-top tray, the black insert tray, if you need T-tops, obviously you can go ahead and reach out either down below on this video, or you can send me an email to sales@encorempw.com, and I'll respond that way. And of course, there's also, like I said, this roof section on eBay that's sold. So I think it makes sense for me to replace it with another. So I'll probably be grabbing another roof out of storage. We'll go take one last look at this complete vehicle here and the customer's order. So really, this is a good example of all you really need. Now, we just looked at the red piece, which was a donor section off of an entire car. But going down the assembly line, this is basically how the car got converted. This panel here would rivet into the factory sheet metal. You measure twice, cut once. The opening to get this piece in from the bottom. And you just keep riveting this thing in, and it'd be factory correct, because that's really all they did. This wasn't welded in. The car did not get its own jig or anything. It was a hardtop converted to a T-top. They never made, from my knowledge, a T-top Mustang. And this piece here can be put in any 79 to 93 hardtop. Doesn't matter if your car is a coupe, a hatch. It doesn't matter if your car has a sunroof, because you're going to cut out enough material to make that fit. If anybody needed me to run some quick measurements or dimensions on anything here before they placed an order, that would be fine. But to wrap things up here, we'll just take another look at a T-top car. So we've got the trim here. We've got the drip rail trim. We've got the trim for the roof. We've got the T-tops themselves and a headliner. We got the waterproof visors. If you've got a four-eyed fox, you're going to need some kind of trim like this. And if you have a arrow nose 87 and up, you're going to just put your quarter window right over this here. You're going to have to cut your interior trim somewhere in this department to give room for the glass to install. There's different door glasses, but the doors are the same as a convertible. There's some bracing inside to keep the sheet metal from kind of opening and closing under the stress of windows going up and down, of course, when it's latched driving down the road. These cars were pretty thin to begin with, so Ford did put reinforcements inside the actual door shell. And then based on your mirrors, your roof style, body style, you're going to have to pick the correct door glass. So do you need 79 to about a 86 T-top door glass? Do you need a 87 and a half only T-top door glass? And what that looks like is it has the regular hardtop mirror. So right where I've got the camera now, if this were a T-top car, bloop, cut right there, that's a 1 year 87 to 88 and a half would be a T-top roof glass. So a lot of you guys with your 87 to 93s that want to use this style side mirror, that's probably the glass you're going to look for. And unfortunately it is unobtainium. They are really hard to find. And then the third option would be a roof like that. That would be your 88 T-top car with the side mirror like this, the opening here, so it would be a longer but very specific to that 88 only door glass. So if you have any other questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out. I hope you guys learned something today and maybe even laid your eyes on something that you have been thinking about for a while. So if you did like this video, share it with somebody who you know might want to learn something about it or is in the process of possibly doing a T-top conversion, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Ford Mustang content. Josh from Encore Mustang Parts, thank you very much.